Hey guys, welcome back. Hope that you're having an excellent Saturday. I decided to try and pound out as many videos as I could today, so this is the first of many. I'm hoping that you guys are liking this new and improved channel of mine. It is really fun to actually film like what I want rather than what I think I should be filming, so I don't know. Anyway, if you're new to my channel, thanks so much for joining me. I am Motherhood and Makeup, or Roxanne as my friends and family like to call me. If you are not new, thank you so much for joining me again. It is great to have you here. So this video comes as a request of one of my cousins. She and I were talking this morning and I was like, hey, what do you want me to film? Like, is there anything that like you're interested in seeing? Or, cause she kind of knows where I want my channel to go, and just kind of who I am and what my channel's about. So she's like, yeah, she listed off all these ideas, and she's like, why don't you film a foundation video? Like, tell us how to match foundation, what's the appropriate way, and what about if we're in a drugstore? So I thought that's a great idea. Since I'm already filming an eye tutorial today, I might as well kill two birds with one stone and do a how to correctly match your foundation video as well. I am by any means no expert, but I do have some tips and tricks of my own on how to match your foundation to your neck, you know, here, or to your décolleté, to your face. A lot of the time our face is a lot lighter, or, you know, it has a different pigmentation than our body. And that's what happens with me. Like, I oxidize on my face, but I don't oxidize on my neck. And so for me, it's really hard to find a foundation because I'm either too cool or too warm, and then my neck ends up looking yellow. So I just have some tips and tricks for you guys that you can try when you are searching for a foundation, you are in the market for a new foundation. And I also have some tips and tricks for when you are at a drugstore and you can't really test the foundation. Now, good thing about a drugstore is if you do buy the wrong color foundation, 9 times out of 10 a drugstore, Ulta, or wherever will let you return it or exchange it for the correct color. And that's just kind of part of the makeup world. It should be a policy because not everyone is going to be able to match their foundation on the first try. So if you guys are interested in seeing how I match my foundation and you want to hear my tips and tricks for making sure your foundation is a perfect match, then just keep watching. Alright, so first and foremost, I am going to kind of be talking to you while I prime my face and do all of my other stuff, just so that I can kind of kill two birds with one stone and start my day and all of that good stuff. So I don't know why I'm doing this, but whatever. So I'm just going to prime my face real quick. And then all of my primers are no color primers, and that's something that's really important. That's something that's really important when you are applying your foundation, is you want to make sure that you don't have any colored primer, or I guess primer that is colored on your face, so like color correctors and things like that. You can't appropriately match your face to a foundation if you have colors on your face. So I'm just going to use the Becca First Light Priming Filter, just because I want to have a little bit of moisture. And then I am going to also use 2 more, just because I like to focus on certain areas of my face. So I'm actually going to use the NYX Angel Veil. This is the Skin Perfecting Primer, and this is a dupe for the Hourglassy Veil Primer. I really love this because it does the same thing, it feels the same way. I love it. And it's the same consistency as the Mineral Veil. And I'm just going to kind of focus that where my pores are. This stuff is a little pricey for the drugstore, but it's a lot less expensive than the Mineral Veil, because that is super expensive. Alright, now I'm going to use the Makeup Forever Step 1. This is the mattifier. And I'm actually just going to focus this right where my pores normally are, just to mattify those a little bit. I'm just kind of using my fingers to press in so that it gets nice and snug into my pores. Something that I do use which doesn't inhibit my ability to correctly match my foundation, is the Bye Bye Redness, and I only use this on areas where my face is super red, down here on my birthmark, here in my nose, and then a little bit on my cheeks. Just because if I don't use this, then I end up having super red skin underneath my foundation, so I just kind of lay this in certain areas on my face. Just because it helps my foundation sit better. Alright, so now that I look super funky, I literally brought out my foundation drawer. Oh, what is this? Look at this. I don't normally like play with all of these. I need to, but I didn't really have this many foundations for a really long time. But yeah. So let me start by giving you a tip for if you have a drugstore foundation that you're looking into. So now the thing to remember about foundation matching is the way that your veins are. So for example, if you have really blue veins, like if you look in your arms and you can see really blue veins, then you're going to be more of a cool tone foundation. So anything that says C is going to be your friend, and it's going to match your skin pigmentation, the undertone you have in your face, and that's really where you want to focus. If you have more of a green veinage in your arm, you're going to be more of a warm undertone. So you're going to want to get something that says W. Now a lot of the time you'll find on like L'Oreal, so this says C4. It's a cool foundation because I have a blue undertone. So you want to make sure that you're staying with the undertone that you have in your veins. Pink versus yellow, that's something else that you really want to pay attention to. So oftentimes if you are a C undertone, you'll have pink pigmentation, or like a pink undertone. So, and then if you are more of a yellow, then you'll have a warmer undertone. And so if you're a W, you're going to have that warmer undertone, you're going to have more of like a yellowy undertone. Whereas if you are a cool or a C with a pink undertone, you're going to have more of that cool undertone. So how many times can we say the word undertone? Anyway, that's just some tips for if you're shopping for like a drugstore foundation. Another tip that I can give you is mostly by ethnicity. So if you are Caucasian, you're going to be like a 10 through 20. If you are Hispanic, you'll be more of a 30 to 40. And if you are African American, you'll be more of a 50 to 60. And so that's another kind of tool that I can give you to use as far as numbers, because sometimes they don't have like they don't have a C or a W, and you can really focus on like, so this is 120. And this is the Maybelline Dewy and Smooth, and so this is just one of the ones that I use on, you know, my relaxing days, and it's a 20 foundation. Whereas like this one, the L'Oreal 24-hour Infallible Pro Glow, this is a 202. So you can either go one of two ways. You can look at it as 22 or a 2, meaning that I am on the more Caucasian spectrum with my skin tone, and I want to stay in the lower ends of the numbers. Something like, let's see, the Milani is the Conceal and Perfect. This is also a number 2. So I'm going to know that I'm not as dark of a skin tone. So mine's going to be like 1, 2, or 3. Whereas Hispanic will be like 4, 5, or 6. And then African American will be like 7, 8, 9. So you really want to pay attention to whether there's a C or a W. And then if you have numbers. Now something that gets a little tricky is a lot of foundations will have the letter N, which is a neutral undertone. So that's something that you really need to pay attention to when you are shopping for foundation. If it says an N, that means you can't tell if your veins are blue or green, and there's not really, you know, a distinction there. You can't really tell the difference if it looks both or in the middle. You want to get an N foundation. I know a lot of the time the L'Oreal foundations are C, W, or N, and you can really choose that way. Now, what if you can't open a drugstore foundation in the store? That's when you want to hold it up to your jawline. So I waited to put on my foundation until this point. I know it looks kind of funny, but I waited until this point just so that I can show you. So let's say, for example, now some of these are not my color, but that's okay. Man, my nose. Okay, so we're in the drugstore and we're trying to find a foundation to match our skin. So I'm gonna pull out, let's see, I'm gonna start with this guy. So this is the Revlon 220, so I stayed within my range, the natural beige. And I can't open it, it's, you know, they don't let me test it. The easiest way to find out if this is going to actually fit your undertone is by holding it up to your jawline. Now I know a lot of the time we'll go in and we'll already have makeup on, so it's a little bit tricky. You can always hold it up to your veins and see if the undertone matches blue to cool or green to warm. You can kind of look and see if it matches there. But if you don't have makeup on and you're able to hold it up to your jaw, that's how you're going to be able to tell if this foundation is going to match you. So I'm actually going to do it on this side. Now I see that this foundation looks pretty good. It looks like it's probably going to be a good match because the undertones in my skin to the foundation, those are looking okay. So this is the Healthy Elixir Vitalist. It's one of the newer ones by CoverGirl. This is the number 710. So it's 10 ranges different from the Revlon. If I hold this up to my skin, you're gonna see that this has a little bit more of a warmer undertone. It has a little bit more of a warmer base, whereas this one has more of a cooler base. So this one has more of that pink and this one has more of that yellow, and you can see that this 710 is probably not going to be my friend just because it has more of that yellowy tone to it and it's not going to match my skin. So I really want to pay attention when I'm in a drugstore, especially if I cannot take it out of the bottle. Out of the packaging. You want to make sure that you're not only paying attention to the undertones of each foundation, but you're also paying attention to the numbers on the bottle. So this one is 10 and this one is 20, and that's a pretty different range. That's why this one probably doesn't match me as well as this one does. This one has more of a yellow, this one has more of a pink. Now I know a lot of the time we're like, how the hell do we tell if it's a yellow or a pink? You really just want to look truly at your foundations and really just kind of see, all right, does this one look more of like a sun color? So this one looks more of like that warm, you can see the yellow in it. You can really kind of look at it and say, yeah, okay, that does look warmer than this one does. This one has more of that pink. I can see a little bit cooler tone in it. I know that it's a really difficult task to match a foundation, but paying attention to the numbers and the letters, if you can't tell undertones, and then holding it up to your jaw. That's what's going to be most important, is making sure that you're not, you know, holding it here or holding it here. A lot of the time people will make the mistake and they'll put it on their wrist. Well, that's going to be a totally different color than your face or your neck. So you really want to focus on here, because this is where the discontinuation happens a lot of the time, between our neck and our jaw. So that's going to be the place where you really want to make sure that it matches, because you're not going to be putting foundation on your wrist, right? You're going to be putting foundation actually on your face and to your neck. So that is my kind of spiel on drugstore foundations. And then another kind of tip that I have for you is when you're putting on your foundation, it's okay to go a little bit lighter on your face than on your neck, because when you bronze up your face and you warm up your face with different makeup and different products, you're going to have the warmth to your face, or you're going to add a little bit of color to your face. So say you go home and the shade is just a tad too light for your skin tone, and you do wear bronzer and you do wear blush, remember that that's going to warm up your face. So it's okay to have it a little bit lighter. Now if it's more orange, then that's something that you really want to pay attention to, because when we have an orange foundation, for example, like oxidation, it really makes us look like an Oompa Loompa. So we want to be careful when we have an orange based foundation. So I'm going to go ahead and apply my foundation just to show you kind of the difference between my jaw and my neck. And I am going to apply my foundation as I would if I was color matching myself. So I'm not going to apply a foundation that's the wrong color all over my face, but I will show you the wrong color just on my jaw, and then we will go from there. So like that's another thing, you guys, is like these stick foundations are really hard to color match. I really have a hard time, but you really just need to pay attention to the numbers, you know, and that's what's really going to help you, or the Y for yellow, or the R for red or pink. Like I know the Makeup Forever sticks, they use the letters, so really pay attention to that. I think Bobbi Brown uses numbers, so you can pay attention to the number system that I showed you. The Tarte foundations are just colors, so you really want to pay attention, like on a scale, would I be beige or medium beige or neutral beige? You want to make sure that you investigate that before you start that process. I'm going to go with my Laura Mercier Flawless Foundation, and then I'm also going to go with my Pro Longwear MAC Waterproof. I'm going to start by showing you the difference with a 2 orange foundation and then something that's a little bit better in color. So I'm going to go with the NW22. Now pay attention to that name, NW22. I'm a cool tone foundation. MAC is opposite in their numbers, okay? A W for MAC means cool tone, and a C for MAC means that you have more of a warm tone. Don't ask me why, because I don't know. Even working there, I don't know why MAC decided to be a rebel and go opposite, because it confuses the hell out of a lot of people, but that's the way MAC goes. So I'm a cool tone, but this foundation I bought is a little bit too dark for me. Right, so I've got my mixing tray just so that I can kind of show you that it's too orange. So this foundation right here is a little bit too orange for me. All right, so I'm going to show you the difference in these colors. This one is NW22 and this one's NW20. They are so different in color, but if I mix them, it's like the perfect shade. So now when I apply NW22, it oxidizes, and you guys can see how completely orange that is for my skin tone. Way too orange. That's something that you really, really want to be careful of. That's something that is going to make me look like an Oompa Loompa, okay? But when I use NW20 on this side, it's a little bit too cool, and it makes my skin look a little bit too pale, a little bit too white. But when I mix the two together, I get my perfect shade. So I'm going to show you here. This foundation completely matches. So sometimes, you guys, it takes a little bit of playing with the foundation to really match your undertone, or to really kind of have two different colors to really match what you need it to. So I mix NW22 and NW20, and I'm actually, for the sake of my undertone, I'm going to put in a little bit of 2N1 Cashew of Laura Mercier's Flawless Fusion Ultra Longwear Foundation. I really love this foundation, but it's a little bit too yellow on its own. So that is that. Sorry, this is so dirty. That is my foundation there. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and apply this foundation just so that I can show you my color match. Now I just did literally 2 squirts of the Laura Mercier. I'm going to focus mostly on the waterproof, and I'm going to mix all 3 of those together. And this is how I'm going to get my perfect shade. And I can already see that that's like perfect for me. So I'm just going to use my beauty blender, and I'm going to apply and I can't see any inconsistencies in my jaw and my foundation. So that is how I know it's a perfect match. I look really, really scary right now, but I promise once I apply everything else, it fits. So anyway, one last tip for you guys that I wanted to mention is it's really important to blend your foundation all the way down your neck. In the event that it doesn't have that perfect match, you really want to make sure that you kind of blend it all the way down and things look seamless. So that's it guys, those are my tips and tricks on how to find your perfect foundation shade. Now remember, I said I am not an expert by any means, but I wanted to give you some tips that work for me and just some advice on what I think works best as far as color, undertone, number, and then how to detect on your jaw at a drugstore. So those are kind of my top 4 or 5 advice pieces for you to go out there, find your perfect foundation, and remember, it's a science, you guys. Makeup is fun, it's creative. You can do 2 orange foundation, 2 white foundation. No one has the right to judge you. No one has the right to tell you what's beautiful on your own skin. And if you love it, then own it. And that's all I have, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I would love to do some more of these, like my advice tips for you. So if you have an idea, please go ahead and put it in the comments down below, and I will go ahead and try out that video. Give me a like or thumbs up, you guys, if you liked this video, you want to see more videos like this, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you know when I upload a new video. Anyway, you guys, if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe down below as well. I would really love it if you became part of the Edgy fam. And if you are already a subscriber, thank you so much for your loyalties. I really do appreciate them. That's all I have, you guys. My last thing for you is don't ever let anybody tell you that you have to be something that you don't want to be. I'll see y'all soon. Take care. Bye now.